Hi guys, it's your girl K-DiD come back out to you one more time. So this is the last part of Natalie's story. I hope you enjoy what you have heard. I hope you are taking what she said by, to your heart and really understand that homeless people are just not, they're people. At the end of the day, they're not just a nothing. They are somebody and they have families. They have somebody who loves them and things like that. So guys, just keep that in your heart. Also, follow us on our social media platform. Everything will be down below. Our resource packet will be in a link tree also. And come and check us out, guys. If you want to talk to us or have any problems or things or concerns or questions, we're working on different things. Some people had asked me about certain things, but we have to find people to interview with that particular topic. By now, you should after this one, it should be after 2 more episodes, something about city FEPs and updates and things like that. So if you want to hear about those updates or see anything or anything like that, we definitely would love that you sit back and relax and enjoy our upcoming episodes. And thank you for coming back to this one. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Not till recently I was like, God, there's so much. This summer has not been happy with me.
Oh,
This week, actually, past week, last week, I was at a court hearing, evidentiary hearing on one of the men who participated in the murder of my father.
right.
There's a new law in California, and so he is trying to get his sentence reduced. So that has been super
Oh,
traumatic
that's
with me. So like, I'm like, how am I coping with this?
right.
Like, how do I cope with this? I'm losing my mind. I'm breaking down. I'm crying. Like just this morning, I'm in the shower and I'm crying and I'm like, okay, Natalie, I'm going to give you these 5 minutes to cry
Right.
and feel bad because, you need to, like, obviously you need to let those emotions out.
Exactly.
But after this, you've got to really, stay focused on what you have going on, and I think keeping things on your schedule, no matter
Yeah.
what it is. If you're like, from this time to this time, I'm gonna take a walk. Like, quite
Being
honestly, let me
busy.
tell you, yeah, staying busy. 20-year-old Natalie, like, if my case manager was telling me this, I'd be like, okay, crazy hippie white lady, like,
Right.
like, okay, I'm gonna go take a walk. Like, I don't know these streets like that.
Right.
But you want me to go walk in the park? Like, I'm watching the news. People are getting, kidnapped in the park. I'm like, what if I'm
Right.
not home for my
Murdered.
kid? Yeah, I'm like, I can't come out these doors. Like, you find me things to do inside the house. And she's like, well, you can do yoga, you can do this. And I'm like, I
No.
mean, I'm not the yoga kind of girl. Like, I didn't grow up
Right.
like that, right? You want me to do all these things that are good for you, but
Right.
what is good for me? But you can't tell me what's good for me because I don't even know who I am.
Right.
So, it just took all these years, and now in my 40s, I'm like, I literally took my sister to Costco. I said, because Costco really, really keeps you focused. Because you're in there looking at all sorts of stuff, and you could just, window shop so well.
Right.
And I bought her a shower head that,
Oh
like,
man.
it's a magnetizing one that comes down. And she called me, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday, and she's like having this panic attack because she's like, I have to work on the weekends. She has 2 jobs. So
Okay.
she's like, I gotta work and I can't even get out the door. And she's having a panic attack, and I'm trying to talk her down. And then in that, I was like, how's that shower head? And
Oh.
she's just like, oh my gosh, I never thought a shower head would make me so, so
It
happy.
does.
Because, having been there for 3 days and using her shower, I was like, if I can't take it down and rinse like the hair off my legs or something,
Right.
I'm not enjoying this. Like, and the shower is one place where I feel like I get away. That's
Yes.
my spot.
Right. Definitely.
So, so yeah, so I think finding like the comedy during, like, for me, was my coping mechanism. Now I can get really sarcastic and things with comedy, but um, I think that's the only thing, that and my children, that sustained me during those times, like where I was like, I'm never gonna get placed. I'm never gonna have a roof over our head.
Right.
This is going to be tragic. Like, how did and I was like telling myself, like, how did you get yourself to this place? Like, how is, this should, I serve my country, or honestly, I was like, it shouldn't be so difficult to get housing.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that was like like maybe 13 years ago. And still, the problem is, I feel like, is much more amplified when people are like, no, we're on waiting list. We can't do this. And I'm thinking, why? Why, with a country that's full of money, why?
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so hard. And it's just the whole rigmarole of, where the money goes here, the money goes there. We're going to put this money here. And it's just like, you know, there's so many hands in the pot.
For sure.
So, I mean, what do? You got to survive.
That's true. That's definitely true. It's it's just so weird to me that they discharged you and they didn't have like they didn't put something set aside or give you a way that, especially if they know. I feel like if you get discharged, you should know certain things about people before you let them out. It almost reminds me of jail, how they just give you probably just a little bit of money and say bye. People pick you up, it's okay. If people don't pick you up, it's okay, and they don't care what happens to you after that. I don't think that's right, especially after you said you serve your country, you did your part, you did your job. Yes, you get paid for it, but your life is also on the line. Like at the end of the day, Um, so I feel like they should have had some options for you, and I don't think shelter or anything like should have been. It should have been like they have
Mm,
certain landlords they're connected with or government properties they can put people in until they're able to get back on their feet to go back in society. And I think that's a disconnect right there. They want to use you when they can use you.
mm,
I try to speak bad about the government. I'm just saying they should take care of the people after they leave. And
yeah.
you're a single mom, and you had a baby, and like
I
it's
mean,
confusing to me.
it was difficult. I'll tell you, the military was the best thing that I ever went and did. It gave me purpose. I was really proud in what I did,
Right.
and being able to serve this country has probably been one of my greatest achievements. I was discharged on custody of minor child, so I wasn't discharged because of anything. I didn't do anything bad or
No,
anything like that.
yeah, I
It's because
understand.
I couldn't sign a parenting plan for my kid to be placed somewhere. Like,
Right.
I couldn't, like, because I didn't know who would be able to help me, like, take care of my kid for 6 months while I'm on deployment.
Right.
And so I didn't, I think what what I didn't expect is for, at the time, the my ship's command to just kind of like discard me. And it wasn't in
Mm,
the best way. It's more like
right.
I got pulled into what they call the chief mess. So and they were like, all the chiefs were there, and they're just like, you're a horrible parent, you can't do this, you can't do that. They completely berated me, and then they were like, okay, we're going to process you out since you can't, it's because I couldn't, like, why did you join the military if you were going to have a kid and not be able to go on deployment? What do you think the Navy is? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, why can't you guys, like, help me out?
Right.
Why can't you be like, we have an organization that helps single mothers or single
Right.
parents while they're, a trusted, organization that helps raise your children, for 6 months while you're on deployment.
Right.
Like, that wasn't even offered to me if that was there at the time. It was
Right.
just kind of like, well, if you can't sign the parenting plan, you're not able to do it, then you need to get out. You need to get out because we don't need you.
Oh.
Well, guess what? My only plan, my whole career, is since I was 14, was to serve the Navy, go into the Navy, and stay there until I retired.
Wow.
That was my only plan. That was like my only plan. My uncle, I have like a very, cherished uncle. His name is Terry,
Right.
and he was in the Navy. He retired, and he was just such a wonderful role model after my father passed. And he took me in, and he was just an amazing, father, just a man that I could look up to. And I thought, if I could be half as good as him, then I'd be golden. And I want to follow in his footsteps. So so yeah, that was my only plan. And so I had no other plan. And so
I
when I got
understand.
out, I was like, I ain't got nothing. Like, I don't know what to do now. Because I
I
didn't, I
understand.
never thought about anything else. I never thought like that I would fail at that. So,
Right.
you know.
But you
But you
made
know
it.
what? All
You
the
made
trials brought me to here where I am now.
right.
I am looking for a job though. Any leads would be great.
If you hear, if you anybody has a job for Natalie, she's looking for a job.
I'm
What state
looking
you
for a
live in again,
job.
in Natalie? What state do you live
I
in?
live in Washington State.
Washington State. You heard. So if you have somebody who wants, if you need somebody who's a hard worker in Washington State, even she might take remote.
I
So if
don't
you,
know. I don't know about hard working, but if you need, no, I'll do whatever's on the job description.
yeah,
Just,
right, right. You got to pay her for the stuff that she's actually doing, not
yeah,
put in extra. What she's not getting paid for. I'm
exactly.
just putting it out there because a lot of people like to do that. Give you a description and say at the bottom if I print. If we actually do anything else, basically,
Yeah,
you
like
can do
other
that.
duties. I'm just like, what
You're
are
doing
these
some
other
people's job.
duties?
You only got one job. Crazy. We're not looking for that
Yeah.
here. I'm sorry. No. She told
Yeah,
me
it's kind of hard
kids.
when you want to just work from home and you don't,
That's true.
you're like, yeah, no, I'd rather be remote.
Right.
I don't
I
want
love
the nine
remote.
to five,
I go to the
just all
gym and
those
be remote.
things. I think now now I'm at the age I'm like, okay, so I have my bachelor's degree and
Right.
I've helped create this report. So what's next for me?
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
You're gonna get some stuff, Natalie. I can see it. Well, I can't really see it,
Oh
but I
yeah.
feel it. I feel it. I feel it. You're gonna be doing great
Just
stuff.
send me an email, jimenez.natalie1981@gmail.com.
Right. You heard. You heard that. We can link it down below because I have her email. You'll see
Yeah,
that you
sounds
need her.
good. And if you want to link to the report, I would love to send that out. The more
Yes.
people read it, I mean, it's such an amazing report. And since we're not on here to talk about the report,
Right.
and I don't have my two other colleagues with me who helped with the report,
Got it.
if you want to link to the report, if you're interested in it, we do have a webinar coming out on the 21st. So just let me know and I can send you that information.
Send it to me by text, and I can link it into the podcast description down below, so they'll be able to
Sounds
see it.
good.
Yes. So you guys also on YouTube, if when you're watching me there, it will be past the time by the time you see this video, but we can still give you the link so you can see the information she's talking about. But yes, I have a question. Like, um, you said your oldest son was with you, like when you was in, like, going through the whole ordeal. Did you think anything affected him as he got older, or do you think that like he was fine whether it happened or not happened? And how did you get through a lot of problems and tribulations with that?
Oh man. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so because I think I feel like on my part I was very much in tune with my son's needs, like what he was going through, things like that. I think, for me, it's hard to gauge because, like I said, I've been through so many trials throughout
Right.
life. He was actually hit by a truck when he was
Oh my
16.
God, Natalie told me to see a
I
lot of
know,
stuff here.
right? Like,
Oh my
who
God.
who are you,
Also,
Natalie? What the hell's wrong
I'm
with you?
sorry about your dad and uncle. I didn't say that before. I didn't know where to put it in. I'll put it right there. But
I
you're
mean,
telling me a lot of things. It's like thing after thing after thing. This is a person who went through it all. So you went
yeah.
through it all. Continue, Natalie. I'm so sorry. Oh
No,
my
I
gosh.
know, right? I don't even know how I went through it, but he was hit by a truck when he was walking, ironically, to his driver's ed class. It
Wow.
was like his last week of driver's ed, and I got it close enough so he can just walk there.
Yeah.
And he was hit by a truck, and so for almost a year he couldn't walk. He had to do physical therapy for like 2 years. I mean, so now he's almost 23, and there was so much fallout from the accident. Depression. Like just an array of mental health, and just like self-harm, just things that I was just not prepared for.
Right.
But having worked in the like in the medical field,
Right.
knowing what resources he needed. So I think, I am grateful that he is the amazing man that he is now. I
Hmm.
mean, he is such a sweet and beautiful soul. And like I tell him, whatever you think is like, everyone defines success in so many different ways.
True.
So, just because you're not 23, with a master's degree, like making, a whole bunch of money, there's so much value in your life
Right.
that that you have the success by you have me, you have your brother, you have a roof over your head. Like these are all, successes, and they're not small successes. These are pretty big
Right.
successes. So you have to like reframe the way you define success. Like you're, um I don't like he suffers from really, bad migraines and things like that. So keeping a full-time job isn't easy for him.
Right.
So I tell him, you want to feel like you're fulfilled at something, volunteer.
Right.
Like I got you. You don't have to pay for room and board, like or anything like that.
Right.
But go out there and volunteer and be a part of the community. And so
True.
he does that and he finds great joy in it.
Hmm.
And I love that for him, because
Me too.
that makes me happy, and he has so many cool things to talk about. And I mean, he's so intelligent, and it's just like talking to him is like, so I'm like, I was never cool like that.
Aw.
I was definitely not that smart, and my vocabulary was never that extensive. And
Right.
I always like felt my intellectually that I was below a lot of people because you know, I'm like, I'm a hood girl. Like I like I mean, I don't really know much.
Right.
and and I know street stuff, but
Right.
like I'll teach you how to do a lot of things that might get you in prison, but like, I mean, I'm well versed in that, but to like, I never watched Star Wars growing up or anything like that.
Really?
Like, I'm like, what the hell is that stuff? And I was like thinking, I'm like thinking that's some nerd stuff. Like, I'm like, God, my kid is a nerd. I'm like, I was talking to his father one day and I was like, dude, like, he's like, man, when I was his age, I was slanging and banging. And
Oh man.
I was like, seriously, like, I think I was like drinking and partying. Like, I didn't know.
Wow.
I'm like, this kid is so cool. But he's doing nerd stuff.
Right.
Like growing up, we were like, that's some nerd stuff. But I was like, whoever thought that nerd stuff would be so cool? I
Right.
mean, I can watch the movies, but I have to do things in portions because I don't
I
because I
understand.
don't get it. Like I don't understand it. I'm like, is there something more I'm supposed to be understanding? Like so I mean these kids nowadays are so smart
They
and
are.
they don't just stay in one lane. Like growing
They
up, you had
don't.
to be, if you're this person, you have to follow this path. If you're this
Right.
person, you have to follow. So they just go and they just do what they like and learn
Yeah.
about what they like. And it's just, I'm just like, man, these young women and men, they are really doing their thing,
They are.
which I love to see. Then they don't care what other
Right.
people think.
They don't care. They could care less.
They don't. They're like, yes, I'm a nerd, or I like to code, or you're just like, what is that? What are you coding? Are you trying to break into something? I
Right.
don't know. Like,
My daughter loves coding too. It's so weird. I'm like, coding. What? She loves it. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's so cool. And I had to learn how to encourage that kind of stuff because I'm like thinking, oh, my kid's gonna be soft. Like people are just gonna run
Yes.
all over him. But I'm like, I think my aunt told me, she's like, you live in the suburbs. Your kids don't have to be hard.
That's
Like,
true.
the world is changing, and what they're learning now is preparing them for the future.
Right.
So, yeah, as a parent, you don't have a book on life. I mean, as a person in general, you really don't have a book on life. I
Right.
didn't have I I'd like to say I didn't have guidance, but I didn't listen to all my guidance.
I know what you
So,
mean.
so it's like, probably there was probably some, some people here and there who like really, cared and gave me good advice. But I'm
Right.
like, what do they know? They're not me. They're not going through what I'm going through.
Right.
So yeah, I think, with parenting kids and just constantly, I didn't want to overindulge my kids and be like, oh, because I didn't have this or I didn't have that. But yeah, they just turned out to be pretty cool people.
That's
I
good.
mean, in their own ways. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're perfect and they don't work my nerves. And I'm like, can you go away? but but overall, I mean, I had to learn like, this is life. We go through trials, um, and it's not a failure. It's just part of what life is.
Right.
And it took me a long time to realize that. Like I used to be like, oh man, like what in the hell is going on with my life? Like how did this happen? But
Right.
now I'm just like, man, it is what it is. I can't do nothing. Like the only thing I can control, I can't control life, but I can control how I react to the
True.
events that I go through as you go through life. So there's that.
That's so true. You
I don't
definitely
even remember
cannot
your
control
question.
life. What you said?
So I don't remember your question, but I feel like I went on a tangent.
It's fine. It's fine. I know people, I think, is gonna love it in general. You're a great speaker, and it's like I'm so happy that you shared your story. It was a lot of twists and turns. I didn't think it would come out to be this way, this podcast
I
whatsoever.
truly
I'm not
didn't
gonna
think
lie
I
to
would
you.
even, I thought I was going to be so much reserved or whatever. But I feel like you and we have this chemistry with talking and
Yeah,
like just keeping it real that
right.
it just, for me, I felt like this is a safe space. And I'm not even thinking about like how many people are going to watch this, but, but I'm just like, okay, me and her, we're having a conversation and I'm just telling her like more about me. That's all it
Right.
is. Like, but there's people who've known me for years who would never even get this out of me.
Oh wow.
So you've got it. Yeah,
I
you
got
heard
it.
it here first.
Right. You guys got it. You heard it here first. Don't tell
Right here.
nobody.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Natalie, do you have any words for like parents or just people in general who are homeless that you like to give a word to of encouragement for themselves?
Um, it's life, it's just an obstacle you have to go through, but you know, it is what you make of it. So you can, stay in your sadness and woe is me, or you can really build a community around yourself that keep the a safe space. And in every situation, you will find people who are willing to lift you up, hold you
Right.
accountable, and others that you can depend on that can get you through this. And don't be ashamed because you know everybody has a story. Like
True.
I look like I work in a library, so and my story's wild and it's still going. Like
Right.
I could tell you a whole bunch more that you'd be like, what?
Right.
So, we all got a story and we're not, you might see someone put together, but they could be the biggest mess that you've probably ever came across.
That is
So,
so true. Sometimes the most put together people are the most people who are going through the most problems. Like a lot of actors, what's the guy who played, I forgot, he dressed up like a lady. Is it Robin Gibbons? I think his name is. I want to
Robin
say
Williams.
Williams. And he's a person, he's a funny guy. He was a great actor, but he's all that roles that I remember seeing him in is always something that's funny. The people who are usually giving out the most laughs, I'm not saying that we're doing this right now. I'm just saying a lot of actors who are making other people happy. Because I went to school for theater arts, if you didn't know, if you're first time watching this. So I love having people laugh, cry, just entertaining people in general. So the people who are usually giving out the most laughs, and you think, and by looking at them you think they're just, they're okay, but it's something on the inside that's making them sad and depressed, and they're going through all these problems. So um don't think, oh, because you see how a person smiling or things like that, that something's not wrong with them. Even if you have time, check on the person you think is the strongest. And
Yeah.
they might have a lot of things going on and they need a lot of help and they just don't have nobody to turn to. They don't know who to go to because they feel so alone. So just be aware of that situation.
Well, smiling is free. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
one thing you can give to yourself. Like smiling is free. And my grandfather used to always say, you know, your smile is worth $1,000,000.
Mm,
So there's a
that's
lot of people
true.
that owe me. I'm just saying.
That's true.
There's a lot of people who owe me. I'm a billionaire right now.
I wish I was. Mm,
Because I smile at people all the time, you know, and I've heard it from patients and people like that. And it's what, you know, people are attracted to what you put out. And if
that's
you're putting
true.
out like negativity, if you're putting out, you know, things like that, you're going to attract things like that.
That's
So,
true. That's
but they
definitely
say misery loves company. Yeah.
that
So,
that right there. Yeah.
yeah. So just even though you're going through a lot, you have to. It's easier said than done. It really is because it
It's
takes
true.
practice. You
Right.
have to be able to smile and find, you know, it's the little things that bring us all joy.
Right. It's true.
So it's the little things. It's when you're, you know, your baby's smiling or, I mean, they have no care in the world. I still have recordings of my kids laughing when they were babies.
Aw,
And yeah, and sometimes when I feel extremely down, I will play those until I can laugh. Like I cannot stop laughing because I just think it's the funniest thing ever.
aw.
Like, I mean, there's just so many little joys in life. And if you really focus on those, you can't be sad.
That's true
So,
for sure. But guys, we are at the end of the podcast. I know it's interesting. If y'all want Natalie back on, just tell me. We could put a topic. If you want to give us a topic, we could definitely talk about it because she needs to be on
we
again.
can talk about anything.
Right, right. So if you guys want to see her again, just tell me, or probably on YouTube, or if I do a clip on TikTok, we could definitely have her on again. She's so interesting. She got so much to tell us, so much you could learn. And just keep your heads up, to be honest. Don't make the world and the life just make you be down. Everything happens in a season. Your season, it might be right now, it might be tomorrow. You might have passed it already. But if you need any help for any things, we have a resource packet listed up down below. Again, it's only for New York City. If Natalie want to give anything from her state, we could definitely send that information out to you guys also. And thank you for listening. And also follow us on all the social media platforms. I'm on TikTok and Instagram the most. And I don't do the Facebook. Like I said, Lorden does the Facebook. She's the one who does the Spanish podcast. She's also, if you speak Spanish, she'll be on a Spanish podcast also. So if you want to go check her out on that, you can. The Spanish podcast happens only once a month at the moment. So it's usually the fourth Wednesdays of every single month. So check her out on there too. Also, if you're looking for a job, we do have job postings all the time on Instagram. People send us stuff, or I look and try to find job postings or trainings and things like that. We want our best to make sure not only that we're giving us stuff by listening to us or giving us stories, we will make sure we can help you and your family if you need a job or any training or things like that. So please check us out on any social media platform if you like. Sorry, I'm making this blur background not work. I don't know. My hair is doing something. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being amazing. And thank you again for coming back to hear our voices. See you next time. Bye. No, I gotta edit that out. Oh my God. Hold on.